All right, ready to dive into a world of lavish parties, hidden pasts, and the allure of the American dream.
The Roaring Twenties. We're better to unravel the timeless appeal of the Great Gatsby.
And we're going deep, folks, really trying to understand why this book still resonates almost a century later.
Fitzgerald was onto something, wasn't he? It's not just a story about the Jazz Age, it's about the dangers of chasing an illusion.
Exactly, and the way he sets it all up right from the start sucks you in. We see everything through Nick Carraway's eyes, this young guy who arrives in West Egg, Long Island, full of ambition.
And a little bit starstruck, I'd imagine, by his mysterious neighbor, Jay Gatsby.
Oh, totally. Gatsby, the elusive millionaire, throwing those legendary parties, everyone dying to get an invite.
But those parties, they're more than just a good time. Fitzgerald uses them to show us how empty the pursuit of wealth and status can be.
It's like, you can have all the champagne and dancing in the world, but it won't fill that void inside.
Precisely. Think about a time when you were maybe at a crowded event, yet felt completely alone. That's Gatsby's life in a nutshell.
And this all plays out against this backdrop of Long Island wealth, but with a twist, right? We've got West Egg versus East Egg.
Ah, yes, the great divide. You have East Egg, the old money world, people like Tom and Daisy Buchanan who were born into their fortunes.
And then there's West Egg, the nouveau riche, people like Gatsby who made their money themselves, which I gotta say adds a whole other layer of intrigue, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And Nick, coming from more humble beginnings, is immediately struck by this contrast. He's fascinated by Gatsby, but also a little wary.
As he should be, right? I mean, Gatsby's whole life is shrouded in mystery.
Until that big reveal, of course.
Talk about a plot twist. Suddenly, we learn that Gatsby wasn't always this self-made millionaire. He was born James Gatz, a poor kid from North Dakota.
Can you imagine reinventing yourself like that? Changing your name, crafting this whole new persona?
All for a shot at love with Daisy, the woman he's been pining after for years.
A woman who, might I add, represents everything Gatsby wants but can't seem to attain.
Because she's married, of course, to the epitome of old money entitlement, Tom Buchanan.
Tom, who's not exactly winning any Husband of the Year awards.
Let's just say Tom's got his own secrets, and they're about to blow this whole love triangle wide open.
Fitzgerald doesn't hold back, does he?
Mhm.
He takes us right into the heart of this love triangle with all its complexities and contradictions.
And we're just getting started. Gatsby, the self-made millionaire, head over heels for Daisy, who's trapped in a loveless marriage with Tom. Talk about a recipe for disaster, right?
And Fitzgerald, he's not just setting up a love triangle, he's using it to dissect the American dream itself.
But before we get to the fireworks, we gotta talk about those parties.
Ah, the legendary Gatsby parties. They're practically a character in themselves.
Imagine walking into one of those gatherings. What's it like? Paint us a picture.
Music everywhere. But not just any music, a full orchestra. The clinking of champagne glasses, the murmur of conversations, laughter echoing through every room.
Sounds kind of overwhelming, to be honest.
It's designed to be. Fitzgerald uses sensory overload to show us how Gatsby's trying to mask a deeper longing, a need for something more than just material wealth.
And it's all a facade, right?
Exactly. Remember that moment when Gatsby's father shows up with that old schedule?
Oh my gosh, you're right. That little detail suddenly takes on a whole new meaning.
It reminds us that Gatsby wasn't always this enigmatic figure. He meticulously crafted this persona, this Jay Gatsby, to win Daisy back.
Which makes that reunion scene even more heartbreaking.
It's almost painful to watch. Gatsby has built up this idealized image of Daisy in his mind, but she can't possibly live up to it.
5 years is a long time. People change.
Exactly. And Gatsby, despite all his money and confidence, is completely out of his element. Remember when he almost knocks over that clock?
Yeah, it seemed like such a small detail at first.
But Fitzgerald uses it to show us just how fragile Gatsby's world is.
Like one wrong move and the whole illusion will shatter.
And of course, there's Tom, who sees right through Gatsby's facade from the start.
Tom, with his old money arrogance, can't stand that Gatsby, and nobody from nowhere dares to even look at Daisy.
It's a threat to his entire world,
Yeah.
the sense of power and control. And that's what leads to that explosive confrontation at the Plaza Hotel.
Okay, the Plaza Hotel scene. Talk about a turning point in the story.
The air is thick with tension, the heat mirroring the emotions running high. Gatsby, Daisy, Tom, all their desires and resentments come pouring out.
And in the middle of it all, Gatsby makes his move.
He does. He puts his heart on the line, confessing his love for Daisy, asking her to leave Tom.
But it doesn't go as planned, does it?
No. Daisy's torn. She's drawn to Gatsby, to the excitement he represents, but she's also terrified of losing the security of her life with Tom.
Even though it's a life built on lies.
Exactly. And in that moment, Gatsby's dream starts to crumble.
Because he realizes that the Daisy he loved, the Daisy he spent years building up in his mind, is gone.
And that's the tragedy of Gatsby's story, and maybe even the American dream itself. Chasing a ghost, a version of happiness that never really existed.
It's like reaching the top of the ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall.
And what makes it even more tragic is that it doesn't end there. That same night, Myrtle, Tom's mistress, runs out into the road
And Daisy, driving Gatsby's car, hits her.
and just like that, Gatsby's world is shattered.
It's like that moment in a movie when you know what's coming, and it's not going to be pretty, but you can't tear your eyes away.
And Fitzgerald, he doesn't shy away from those tough moments in Gatsby. In fact, he uses them to reveal something even deeper about the American dream.
And in typical Gatsby fashion, he takes the fall for Daisy, even though she was the one driving.
It's both heartbreaking and infuriating, isn't it? He's so blinded by his love for her, by this idealized image of her, that he's willing to sacrifice everything.
Even though she doesn't even deserve it, right? I mean, Daisy's track record isn't exactly spotless.
No, it's not. And yet Gatsby clings to this idea of her, this dream he's built up over all these years.
So what happens? Does Daisy finally come to her senses?
Sadly, no. She retreats back into her world of wealth and privilege, leaving Gatsby to face the consequences alone.
And those consequences, they're pretty dire.
To put it mildly, Gatsby is shot and killed by George, Myrtle's husband, who mistakenly believes Gatsby was driving the car.
It's tragic, really. All that yearning, all that striving, and for what?
It's like Fitzgerald is showing us the dark side of the American dream, the hollowness that can lie beneath the surface.
And to make matters worse, nobody shows up to his funeral.
It's a stark reminder of the emptiness of Gatsby's world. This man who threw these lavish parties, surrounded by people, dies utterly alone.
Except for Nick.
Right, Nick is there. He's witnessed it all, the highs and lows, the glamour and the tragedy.
He must be questioning everything by this point.
Absolutely. Remember how he arrived in West Egg, almost seduced by the allure of it all? Now he sees the American dream for what it really is, a dangerous illusion that can corrupt and destroy.
And he decides to walk away.
He does. He leaves West Egg, heads back to the Midwest, rejecting everything the world represents.
It makes you wonder, what's Fitzgerald really trying to tell us?
Is Gatsby's story a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition, or a tragic love story, or is it something more?
It's all that and more, isn't it? It's a story that stays with you, makes you question your own dreams, your own desires, and what you're willing to sacrifice for them.
Exactly. It's a story that forces us to confront the complexities of the American dream and ask ourselves, what are we really chasing and at what cost?
So much to think about, long after the last page is turned. That's the power of The Great Gatsby.
And it's why we keep coming back to it, decade after decade.
And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of The Great Gatsby. We hope this conversation has sparked some new insights, maybe even challenged a few perspectives.
Until next time, keep those pages turning and those conversations flowing.